We will learn some terms to be able to identify the location of a structure with reference to the location of another structure. So now we will learn some terms that indicate different directions. Neuroaxis is an imaginary line drawn through the length of the central nervous system. We must think of a dog or a shark when we learn neuroaxis. Because a dog's neuroaxis is straight, it is a line that starts between her eyes and runs down the length of her spinal cord. Simple. Humans are being weird by standing upright. Let's learn the directions first and get to the humans afterward. The front end is anterior or rostral and the tail is posterior or caudal. The top of the head and the back part is dorsal, while the belly is ventral. In sharks and dolphins, this is called the dorsal fin, and ventrum means belly in Latin. Okay, as I said before, these directions are a little bit more complicated in humans because we stand upright. When we stand up, our neuroaxis bends 90 degrees at the back of the head before it runs down the length of the spinal cord. So the top of the head is perpendicular to the back. If you imagine a human walking on all fours as Gollum does, or swimming like Michael Phelps, the neuroaxis directions get normal. Two other useful terms are ipsilateral and contralateral. Ipsilateral refers to structures on the same side of the body. Contralateral refers to structures on opposite sides of the body. There's a tumor in someone's right hemisphere and it affects his hand ipsilateral. Which hand are we talking about now? Also, superior and inferior are used to compare the location of structures. The very last terms that indicate the locations are medial and lateral. Medial means toward the middle and lateral means toward the side. We can slice the brain in three ways. The first one is coronal plane, or is known as transverse plane, like slicing a loaf of bread. Corona obviously means crown in Latin. Imagine a queen wearing a crown. A transverse plane gives us cross sections. Second one is the horizontal plane, sometimes called axial plane. It is parallel to the ground. The third and last one is the sagittal plane. It is perpendicular to the ground and parallel to the neuroaxis. If you cut a brain in the center and divide it into two halves, it is called a mid-sagittal plane. As a conclusion, we learned what neuroaxis is. Also, the anatomical directions such as anterior for the front and posterior for the tail. Dorsal was on the upside and ventral was the belly. Ipsilateral and contralateral. Superior and inferior and medial and lateral. In the second part we have learned planes. Coronal aka transverse plane. Remember, if you want to get a cross section or coronal section of a human spinal cord, fetch the idea of this human walking like Gollum. We also learned about the horizontal and sagittal planes.